The world of sports is no stranger to emotional moments. With its storied history and over a century worth of stats, games, and players, baseball has provided its fair share of emotional moments over the years. Here are some of baseball's most emotional moments. 10. Aaron Boone blasts the Yankees into the World Series. This was another example of two teams and two sets of fans who had their emotions pushed to the extreme ends of either joy or heartbreak with just one swing of the bat. It was Game 7 of the 2003 ALCS, a showdown between two old rivals and two of baseball's oldest franchises. The Red Sox and Yankees were in a winner-take-all game with a trip to the World Series on the line. Following an improbable Yankee comeback to tie the game in the 8th inning, the game was knotted at 5-5. Then Aaron Boone sent a towering blast into the left field stands off of Red Sox relief pitcher Tim Wakefield, which gave the Yankees the win and the ticket to the World Series as well. 9. Prince Fielder retirement.
Well, you miss being around those guys, because, a lot of...
Texas Rangers slugger Prince Fielder officially announced his retirement at a press conference in Arlington on Wednesday, fighting back tears at the end of a 12-year career. Wearing a neck brace after neck surgery, Fielder was very emotional throughout the press conference. During the press conference, he was flanked at the table by agent Scott Boras on one side and Fielder's two sons on the other. Fielder thanked just about everybody, including his wife, for always helping him to stay positive, and cried some more when looking at his sons. 8. Tyler Skaggs tribute.
There was no more energy that he brought.
In their first home game since the death of 27-year-old pitcher Tyler Skaggs on July 1st, the Angels threw a combined no-hitter in a 13-0 win over the Mariners on a night dedicated to the player's memory. Right from the jump, it was clear that Friday's game was going to be a particularly special one. With the Anaheim crowd on its feet and every Angels player wearing Skaggs' name and his number 45 on the back of their jerseys in honor of their teammate and friend, Skaggs' mother Debbie kicked things off with a perfect strike for an emotional first pitch. 7. Pat Neshek. Throughout his MLB career, Pat Neshek has been an excellent relief pitcher. He has ultimately played for several teams throughout the years and has found success at pretty much every stop. While Neshek has had many great performances on the mound, his most memorable one came while he was pitching for the Oakland Athletics, just days after his son's death. Neshek's wife reportedly wanted him to pitch as she hoped to start the healing process. The team, who ended up losing the series 3-2, also honored the baby by putting his initials on the uniforms. 6. Almora hit the girl. During the 4th inning of the game, a 2-year-old girl was hit by a ball off the bat of Cubs center fielder Albert Almora Jr. She suffered a fractured skull and has a permanent brain injury. Almora was seen crying on the field after the ball went into the stands. A shaken Almora fell to his knees and began crying when he realized what had happened. His teammate and manager came over to console him. In a photo captured after the incident, the young girl can be seen in tears. She was immediately taken to the hospital. Fans were visibly distraught. One woman covered her mouth in shock. Almora went over to the stands to check on the girl and broke down again, crying in the arms of a security guard. He said when the child feels well enough, he wants to reach out to her. 5. Vin Scully retirement.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Vin Scully was celebrated for his mastery of the graceful phrase and his gift of storytelling. After a record 67 years behind the mic, the game's most legendary broadcaster Vin Scully retires. Vin Scully retired at age 88 after almost 7 decades. His last broadcast came on October 2nd, the final Sunday of the regular season, when the Dodgers played the Giants in San Francisco. The fans waved cards reading "Thank you, Vin," and cheered when Mr. Scully, heard over Dodger TV and radio stations, but also over the Giants stadium loudspeaker, intoned, "It's time for Dodger baseball." Upon his retirement, he was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, America's highest civilian honor, during a ceremony at the White House. Scully died at his home in the Hidden Hills neighborhood of Los Angeles at the age of 94. 4. Mike Piazza home run. On September 21, 2001, 10 days after the terror attacks on the World Trade Center in New York, Piazza came to the plate at Shea Stadium in the 8th inning. It was the first sporting event in the city since the attack, and Piazza delivered some much-needed jubilation for the more than 41,000 fans in attendance, taking pitcher Steve Carsey deep to left center for the go-ahead two-run homer. An atmosphere that had been at times solemn and on edge turned to cheers and tears of joy as New York went on to win the game. The iconic moment was cemented in Mets lore. Many first responders and family members of those lost in the attack were in attendance that night, and the home run brought them and the many watching at home a sliver of normalcy, a reason to smile and a moment of healing. Piazza was a hero in New York long before that moment, but his time with the Mets will always be highlighted by the legacy of that home run. 3. Derek Jeter's last game. Sometimes in baseball, everything comes together in ways that both defy belief and make perfect sense. Such was the case for Hall of Fame shortstop Derek Jeter's final game in the Bronx, a place where Jeter had created so many highlights and memories at both the old and new Yankee stadiums. On September 25, 2014, Jeter played the final game of his 20-year career. In the usual Jeter style, he did it in the most amazing way. With the game tied between the Yankees and the Baltimore Orioles, the legendary voice announced, "Derek Jeter, number 2 Derek Jeter." Jeter stepped to the plate and hit a walk-off single to win the game for the Yankees. New York Yankees fans will never forget Derek Jeter's final game at Yankee Stadium. The walk-off hit in his final home game. For a legend like Jeter, there couldn't have been a more perfect ending. 2. David Ortiz farewell. In his final regular season game at Fenway Park, David Ortiz was honored by the Boston Red Sox in an emotional pregame ceremony, which featured gift presentations, visits by former teammates of David's, special flag drops over the Green Monster, and a ceremonial first pitch by the President of the Dominican Republic. David Ortiz saluted fans at Fenway Park following the conclusion of his final career game. Ortiz walked around the field and lifted his cap toward the fans. As the theme song from The Natural played from the public address system, Ortiz stood on the pitcher's mound of all places and tipped his hat to the fans. He pounded his chest, took in the roars, and tried to hold back tears. Ortiz dabbed at his eyes as he walked back to the clubhouse after a stint of roughly 4 minutes on the field. It was Big Papi's grand goodbye. The Red Sox announced before that game that Ortiz's number will be retired next season. 1. Jose Fernandez.
Final report released about the crash that killed Jose Fernandez and 2 men.
For a young man who risked everything to be a part of this country.
Miami Marlins pitcher Jose Fernandez was one of 3 people declared dead after a boating accident. He was 24 years old. Playing for the first time since the death of franchise pitcher Jose Fernandez, every member of the Marlins wore Fernandez's name and number 16 on the back of his jersey. Before the game, the team paid touching tribute to its ace. When the game started, Gordon provided a moment that won't soon be forgotten. He opened his at-bat by stepping into the right-handed batter's box and imitating Fernandez's stance for the first pitch. The second baseman then switched to his normal left side of the plate and promptly hit his first home run of the season. Tears welled in his eyes and spilled down his cheeks as he reached home plate and pointed to the sky. After Miami defeated the Mets, the Marlins left the game ball on the mound and the entire team circled around it with their arms around each other. That was all for today's video. Before leaving, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.